You know when you get a questionnaire to fill out and it says something like, in less than 20 characters, tell me X, Y, and Z, and it won't let you submit the questionnaire because you've gone over the 20 characters? Well, did you know that you can do that in Google Forms? It's called response validation, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use it. So let's get started. So response validation is basically a rule that you've applied to a question. The type of rule that you can set is dependent on the type of question that you create. Now, the rules are only available for the following types of questions: short answer questions, paragraph questions, checkbox questions, multiple choice grid questions, and tick box grid questions. So I'm going to show you examples of each one of these. So let's say you're creating a customer feedback form. We want to create a short answer question asking for their email address. So we click into the plus symbol here on the right hand side to add a question. We choose short answer as the question type, and we type in our question, please share your email address. Now you can actually set up a rule that this answer must be a valid email address. So to do that, we click on the three dots here in the bottom right corner, and we click on response validation. Now we can set the rules by clicking on these little drop down arrows next to these text options here. So we've got the option for number, text, length, and regular expression. Because we want an email address, we want text. So we click on text, then we click on the next drop down arrow here, and we can choose whether or not it contains a certain word, whether it has a URL link, or whether it's an email address, which is the one that we want. So we click on there. You can see here over on the right hand side it says custom error text. So this is where we can add in our own error message if we want to, but I'm just going to leave that blank so we can see what it says. If we now go to preview up here in the top right corner, we can see what the question actually looks like. So if I type in here, no thanks, and click away from there, it's telling me that it must be a valid email address. So that's one example of using the short answer question type. So next we want to create a paragraph question. So again, we click on the plus symbol over here on the right hand side, and we can add in the question. Now I didn't choose the question type here, but it's automatically chosen it for me and it's correct. If you wanted a different question type, then obviously we would click on the drop down arrow and choose a different question type. But we want the paragraph one, so that's fine. Again, we click on the three dots down here in the bottom corner for more options and choose response validation. So here we can set the length of the answer that we want. So we choose either the minimum character count or the maximum character count, and we put in the number we want. So I'm just going to add in the maximum number count, and I'm just going to say 4, just so I can show you as an example. You've probably noticed as well there's another option here for regular expression. I'm going to go through that later in this video, so for now just ignore that. So again, if we click on preview up in the top right here, and where it says what did you like about this tutorial, I'm just going to write hello because that's more than 4 characters, and you can see the error message here must be 4 characters or fewer. So that's the second example of response validation. So next we'll look at the checkbox question type. So we're going to click on the plus symbol here to add another question. I'm going to select checkboxes as the question type, and I'll just quickly add in a question here. So you can see I've added in this question. I've given 4 options for the checkboxes, and if we go down to the 3 dots now at the bottom, and we've got response validation. So again, click on response validation, and then we can choose these options. So here we say whether or not people need to check a minimum or a maximum number of boxes, or specify the exact number of boxes that must be checked. So if we put exactly and then put 2, we're saying that exactly 2 boxes need to be checked when they answer this question. Now if we go to preview again, and if I select 1, it's telling me must select exactly 2 options. When I select 2, it disappears. If I select 3, then the error message appears again. So it's all working fine. So the next question type is a multiple choice grid question. So again, click on the plus symbol to add a question, choose the multiple choice grid, which is down here, and then we can ask a question. So I'm just going to say, how did you find the following? So this is kind of like a rating matrix kind of question. So you've got rows going down the left, and then you've got columns going across. So I'm just going to quickly put in some data in here. So these are the rows that I'm putting in, the questions, and the columns is just going to be like a rating. So I'm going to say very good, good, okay, bad, and very bad. So if I scroll down so you can see properly. So we've got our question, we've set up the rows, we've set up the columns, and if we now click on the 3 dots here, there's not really an option for response validation, but there's only the option to limit the response to 1 per column. So in this example, they'd only be able to select very good once or okay once, and that's all. So I'm going to switch this on so you can see what it looks like, but you can also see here there's a button to toggle on and off to require a response in each row. So I'm going to leave that switched on at the moment, and I'm going to go to preview, scroll down, and this is the multiple choice grid question that we've just done. So you can see if I start typing in very good here, I've done 1 per row, but it's saying I can't select more than 1 response per column. So each one of these needs to be in a different column in order for me to submit my answer. Now we don't really want that. So if I go back into response validation, and I'm going to deselect limit to 1 response per column. Now if we go back into the preview, there's now no error message next to these. So that was multiple choice grid questions. Now the checkbox grid question works the same way as the multiple choice grid one. So I'm just going to quickly change this to tick box grid. Sorry, it's actually called tick box grid. On the options here, I keep calling it checkbox grid, but it's tick box grid. It's a bit of a mouthful as well. So I've quickly changed the question type here, and if we go to the 3 dots, you can see that it's exactly the same response validation as before. You're limiting to 1 response per column, and you can also require 1 response in each row. So I've left that switched off, but I've left the response in each row switched on. And now if we go into the preview and we scroll down, you can see that it's now changed to a checkbox multiple grid. Now the difference here is that you can check as many boxes as you like for each row, unless you've limited it to 1 response per column. And to remove your choices, you just select the box again and it will take it out. So that's the difference between multiple grid questions and tick box grid questions. So I said that I would quickly chat about regular expression. So you've probably noticed the option called regular expression. A regular expression lets you set very specific rules for answers. So you can use it to make sure that people fill out a form in exactly the way that you need them to. So think of it kind of like a super customized rule checker. Instead of just choosing options like it must be a number, a regular expression lets you create your own patterns for things like format or required words. So if we add a new question in here, and I'm just going to say, what's your ID number? So it's given me short answer type, which is fine. But let's say, for example, that we've got ID codes set up in the organization and that they always start with a letter followed by 5 numbers. So if we go down to response validation in the bottom right, click on the 3 dots and choose response validation. And now if we choose regular expression, so we can make sure that the answer is always in the format of a letter followed by 5 numbers. So to do that, we're saying regular expression, we're saying it must match, and then we need to put in the pattern. So in this example, I'm just going to quickly type it out here. So I'll just break this down for you. The A to Z in square brackets means any uppercase letter from A to Z. The \D means digit, so any numbers from 0 to 9. And the 5 in the squiggly brackets, sorry, I can't remember what they're called, technical term, squiggly brackets, that means exactly 5 times. So the form is basically expecting exactly 5 numbers after the capital letter. So if we now go to the preview again, scroll down, and we can type in what's your ID number. So if we type in A1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if I click off this, it's now saying it must match the pattern. So if I take off the number 6, it's letting me do this because I've got a capital letter to start and then I've got 5 digits following that capital letter, which matches the pattern that we've put into regular expression. So getting back into response validation, if you want to turn off response validation in any of the questions at any time, you simply click into the question, click on the 3 dots and click response validation to untick that option. Now the final option I want to quickly show you is for multiple choice questions. Now it's not response validation, but it does allow you to direct them to a different section based on the answer they give. So if we add a new question at the bottom, and I'm just going to type in the question, did you find this tutorial helpful? It's automatically selected multiple choice, which is good. And it's suggested here add yes, no, and maybe. So I'm just going to add yes and no. And now if we click on the 3 dots, we've got the option to go to section based on answer. So this is really good for making sure the questions are relevant to the person that's responding. So if we click on go to section, and you can see there's 2 more options that's now appeared on the right hand side. They both say continue to the next section. So if we click on each one, you can decide where you want them to go. So let's say they say yes, they were happy. Then we can choose submit form because that's it, they finished. If they say no, they weren't happy, then we want them to go to a different section to find out why they weren't happy. Now we've only got the 1 section created at the moment, so I'm just going to quickly set up a new section. So to do that, you click on the 2 bars at the bottom of this floating toolbar on the right hand side. When you hover over it, it says add section. So click on there to add a new section. Scroll down. We're going to give the section a title, so just call it unhappy, and then click out of it. And now if we go back into this multiple choice question, where it says continue to next section for saying no, we can click on the option and now we can say go to section 2 and come out of that question. And now we can actually go back into this section and add more questions that are relevant to them to find out why they weren't happy. And that's it. Job done. It actually still surprises me how many people don't know that you can set rules in Google Forms and just how easy it is to use it. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and share with anyone who you think might also find it useful to know. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.